Greetings, friends. Today we get acquainted with the work of the artist Jean-Leon Gerome, who is one of the most famous artists of the 19th century. Let's look at his most interesting paintings in modern processing. Let's dive into the artist's work depicting monarchs, Arab religious practices, genre scenes and landscapes of North Africa, and paintings that combine oriental settings with depictions of female nudity. Find out which of his works are worth more than £2 million. Who has not subscribed to the channel yet? Subscribe, and let's go! We are waiting for a lot of interesting things. Jean-Leon Gerome was a French painter and sculptor in the style now known as academicism. He was born in Vesoul, Haute-Saône in 1824. In 1840, he went to Paris, where he studied under Paul de la Roche, whom he accompanied to Italy in 1843. He visited Florence, Rome, the Vatican, and Pompeii. On his return to Paris in 1844, like many of de la Roche's pupils, he joined the workshop of Charles Glayer and studied there for some time. Then, he entered the School of Fine Arts. His paintings were so widely reproduced that by 1880 he was, perhaps, the most famous living painter in the world. The range of his work included historical painting, Greek mythology, orientalism, portraits, and other subjects, bringing the tradition of academic painting to its artistic zenith. In 1846, he attempted to enter the prestigious Prix de Rome, but failed in the final round because his figure drawing was inadequate. This was followed by a whole series of paintings that captivated critics and spectators of the salons. Such works include the paintings Cockfight, Our Lady, Child Jesus, and Saint John and Anacreon, Bacchus and Eros, Greek Interior, Italian Souvenir, Bacchus and Love in a Drunken State, Paestum, Idol, and many others. In 1851, he decorated a vase later presented by Emperor Napoleon III of France to Prince Albert, and in 1852 Gerome received a commission for a large fresco with an allegorical subject of his choice. For this fresco, he received a significant advance, which allowed him to travel and do research. He visited Constantinople, Greece, Turkey, and the banks of the Danube. In 1856, Gerome visited Egypt for the first time. This marked the beginning of many Orientalist paintings depicting Arab religious practice, genre scenes, and North African landscapes. Among them are paintings in which the Oriental setting is combined with the image of female nudity. The Slave Market, the Great Basin of Bursa, the Harem Pool, and similar subjects were works of the imagination in which Gerome combined accurately observed Middle Eastern architectural details with idealized nudes painted in his Parisian studio. In his travels, Gerome collected artifacts and costumes for staging Oriental scenes in the studio, and also made oil studies from life for the background. His ethnographic imagery of Arab and Islamic culture, controversial during his lifetime, is now under even greater scrutiny, as is his penchant for female nudity. Contemporary critics raise issues of cultural appropriation and sexual exploitation. Despite accusations that Gerome's orientalizing paintings exploited and pandered to the stereotypes of Arab and Muslim cultures, there is currently high interest in Gerome art collecting in the Middle East, as evidenced by the high prices paid at auctions for his work by the Office Museums of Qatar in Doha. They want to take it and keep it, says art critic Emily M. Weeks. Egyptian industrialist and art collector Shafik Gabr considers Gerome and other Orientalist artists fearless early globalists who risked themselves to document the new world discovered by Napoleon Bonaparte's Egyptian expedition from 1798 to 1801. I was inspired by these artists. These people traveled in very difficult circumstances, not knowing what to expect. They did not travel to conquer or find oil. They traveled to discover and understand. Gerome's reputation was greatly strengthened at the Paris Salon of 1857, when he exhibited Egyptian recruits crossing the desert, Memnon and Sesostris, watering the camels, and unballowing Mascara. In 1858, he helped decorate the Parisian home of Prince Napoleon Joseph Charles Paul Bonaparte in the Pompeian style. The prince bought his Greek Interior, 1850, a depiction of a brothel, also in the Pompeian style. In Ava Caesar, Morituri T. Saladin, shown at the Salon of 1859, Gerome returned to painting on classical subjects, but the picture did not interest the public. Don't forget to like and comment. This will greatly help in the development of the channel. And we continue, the most interesting awaits us. Jérôme was appointed one of the 3 professors of the School of Fine Arts. He started with 16 students. Between 1864 and 1904, over 2,000 students received at least part of their artistic education at Jérôme's atelier at the École des Beaux-Arts. Places in Jérôme's atelier were limited, they were much sought after, and the competition was high. Only the best students were accepted, and applicants considered it an honor to be chosen. Jérôme promoted his students by painting from period works, casts, and then studying life with living models, usually selected based on their physique, but sometimes also on their facial expressions, in a sequence of exercises known as an academy. The students drew parts of the bust before the full bust, then parts of the live model before preparing the full figures. Only when they mastered the sketch were they allowed to work in oils. They were also taught to draw clearly and correctly before considering tonal qualities. At his school, the floor was tilted so that the students could better see the model from the back of the room. Students sat around any model in order of seniority. Older students were closer to the back so they could draw the full-length figure, while younger participants sat in front and concentrated on the bust or other part of the anatomy. Jérôme successfully returned to the salon in 1873 with his painting L'Eminence Grise, a colorful depiction of the main staircase of the palace of Cardinal Richelieu, commonly known as the Red Cardinal, who was the de facto ruler of France under King Louis XIII. In the last decades of his career, when his own work fell out of fashion, Jérôme was highly critical of Impressionism. He objected to Manet's memorial exhibition at the École des Beaux-Arts in 1884. But he did attend the opening, after which he made an ambiguous compliment to Manet that the exhibition wasn't as bad as I thought. Beginning in 1890, Jérôme again drew inspiration from the ancient world, creating an interconnected, slyly self-referential series of paintings and sculptures depicting Pygmalion and Galatea, the spirit of Tanagra, and yourself. In this series of works on classical antiquity, creative inspiration, doubles, and feminine beauty, we see how Jérôme powerfully evokes the continuous interplay between painting and sculpture, reality and fiction, and also emphasizes the theatrical nature inherent in art. Beginning in the mid-1890s, in the last decade of his life, Jérôme painted at least 4 paintings depicting truth as a naked woman thrown into or out of a well. The image was inspired by the aphorism of the philosopher Democritus, "We know nothing about the truth, for the truth is in the well." On January 10, 1904, a maid found him dead in a small room next to his atelier, hunched over in front of a portrait of Rembrandt and at the foot of his own painting Truth. But the biographer Moravadier does not specify which painting of Truth. He was 79. Incredible energy, long career, and wide popularity of Jérôme led to the creation of a huge number of works that are now in museums and private collections around the world. Ackerman's 2018 revised Reason catalog lists about 700 paintings and 70 sculptures. Now his work is once again in demand on the international art market. In 2008, his painting Femme Circassienne Voilée, or The Veiled Circassian Beauty, 1876, was auctioned for £2,057,250. It is now owned by the Qatar Museums Authority in Doha. In 2019, his painting The Harem at the Stall, circa 1870 to 1875, sold at auction for £2,655,000, and his Horseman Crossing the Desert, 1870, for £3,135,000.